Hi, folks. Fun episode today with a dear friend of ours, JP Hasson. His new music project, Hasco Enjoyments, that's Hasco Enjoyments, has a great album. I play on it. It's not even full disclosure. I'm just proud of it. The album's called Wow, and find it wherever you get music, Hasco Enjoyments. Also, patreon.com/late night, blah, blah, blah. Go over there. Video versions, ad-free episodes, all this stuff. And come see me and NSP on tour. For my shows, go to linktree/Ninja Brian. That's linktr.ee/Ninja Brian. All right. Enjoy. I know. Look, I get it. That was a lot of stuff. Enjoy the episode. I got this at Pabst Mansion in Milwaukee.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Have you been to Pabst Mansion?
Not been to Pabst Mansion, no.
Next time
Pabst Theater.
You're in Milwaukee. Pabst Theater is great. Next time you're in Milwaukee, it's like close to downtown. It's not right in downtown, but it's just next to it. It's by what's Marquette. It's like right next to Marquette. It is the house that was owned by I don't know the guy's
John
name.
J. Pabst of the Pabst.
Is that John J. Pabst, or are you making that up?
I'm making that up.
Yeah, okay. I was very convinced for a second, though. And it's like this cool old 19th century, gigantic house where the Pabsts lived, and they're restoring it kind of one room at a time, and most of it is awesome. And they have a gift shop full of Pabst stuff.
That's brilliant.
Yep. So I got this little thermos.
Can't wait for you to get pulled over.
While drinking out of this?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That would be great.
Yeah, it really would.
But officer, it's just my Pabst thermos.
Yeah, but you actually put Pabst in it. That's the ultimate gambit.
Well, you have to legally. If it says it on the outside, it's got to be it on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time
work.
that you had a lukewarm PBR?
Well, it's been a long time for me.
Yeah.
Same.
I've had other lukewarm substances, but not a PBR. It's been a while.
Duh, you've had lukewarm substances.
Hey,
what the fuck?
Okay, Layden, you're going to need to take that energy and dial it the fuck down, because I can't deal with this today. Okay?
This is the only way I can express
and now
energy,
you're interrupting
Brian.
me.
You're interrupting the one woman on the call. I'm outflanked by two old men.
Uh-huh.
That's true.
Yeah, I would have said older.
No.
But, yeah.
I'm suddenly taking a stance on this after a long time.
Now that we're old.
Yeah.
What's old to you? When do you become old? Because JP is slightly younger than I am.
You become old at like not old. You become old 65.
Watch it.
65.
Oh.
I agree with that. I think that's fair. 65 is when you're old.
Yeah, in 50s, late 40s, not old.
But then here's the question. Are you if you're 60, are you middle-aged? That feels wrong to me.
No.
No,
you're past middle age at 60, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, the term middle age implies it is middle age.
So what are you at 60? You're not middle-aged, but you're not old.
You're a secret third thing.
Pre-retirement.
Pre-retirement. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
You're dying.
Oh, we're all dying one day at a time, baby.
Yeah.
It's very true.
What were we talking about before the ageism that I instigated?
Yeah, for no reason, out of nowhere, just to be cruel to our guest and me. Why don't we're going to introduce the show. This is Late Night with Brian Wecht. My name's Brian Wecht. Here we have Leighton Gray.
Hi, I'm a young.
You're not that young. Calm down.
Okay, sure.
Say the thing you usually say, Leighton.
Mystery guest, please introduce yourself and expose how old you are.
Wow. My name's JP Hasson. I'm 48 years old. I was born January 18th, 1977.
Mm-hmm.
Swedish Hospital in Seattle, Washington.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great.
What's your address and social security number? Just to
123 Main Street.
Okay, good.
Downtown USA.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. JP, what do you do? What might people who listen to this show know you from?
Oh, well, I guess that's the real struggle in life, isn't it? What what do people know me for in maybe this world, and what would I like to be known for more?
I'd like to know what you would like to be known for. That was probably the better question.
Well, previous guest on the show, of course. This is your third time?
I think
Third?
second time.
Second time. Okay.
I think second time. I'm an artist, visual artist, and musician, occasional comedian, and gardener.
Yeah.
I can see based on the way that plant is clinging to your head.
It's there. Yes, that's my centerpiece for the afternoon.
JP has a lovely backyard.
Thank
which
you.
is, well maintained and frequently maintained.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
You also, I mean, is your relatively recent role, is this public knowledge? As head of?
Oh, the High Network?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I wanted. Yes, I didn't want to give it away in case
I'm
we weren't allowed to say it.
For I guess it's been a full year now. I'm managing director of On Cinema, At Cinema, and the High Network, and run the day-to-day behind the scenes glamour of running a self-funded television network.
Yep, limousines, red carpets,
You know it.
all the usual stuff.
Private jets, and very few emails.
I have spent, since its inception, I pay for my High Network subscription, but I am woefully behind on cinema.
Oh, haven't watched the current season?
No,
Yeah.
I'm trying. The last one that I watched was the Oscar special in the desert.
Oh, yeah, you
This
have
was a while ago.
2 or 3 years to catch up on.
Hell
There's
yeah.
there's a lot. There's a lot that's going on.
I honestly, I don't know it that well because there's just too much. Like I dip
Oh.
in and out. Okay, I'll see a thing here and there. That's about the extent of it. Honestly, most of it I find out through you.
Yeah, it's so dense. It's so
Metatextual.
Oh yeah, and the everything from the minutia of the intentional mispronunciations to misspellings to everything is this always blossoming flower, there's never a lull in their output of whether that's like in one episode, like there's so many layers to everything, and that expands to a season, and then just to the overarching insanity of the entire series itself. And
It's so difficult to recruit people into it. Like how
Like almost anything these days, but it feels especially daunting for this
worse.
particular thing.
it is, but once its hooks are in you, like your people are devoted.
Yeah, you're fucked forever.
But that's been the hardest part of coming into something that has historically been. It was on Adult Swim for many years. I mean, for 11 seasons. And
Really?
then-
Fuck.
yeah.
That's crazy.
And then since we took it independent, starting with season 12, and we're on season 15 now.
Wow.
I think there's still this massive chunk of people who know about it, love it, but don't know that it has existed outside of Adult Swim. And cracking that, it has been really, really challenging.
It's also like difficult to explain to people how necessary the Oscar specials are. Like I've kind of had to pitch it as like they're like the season finales sort of and the best part of the show, and don't skip them for the love of God, because that's where the plot development happens.
Oh yeah, and that's like at the end of each season, that's where everything really comes to a head. And yeah, it's necessary viewing.
It's also one of the only things that will make me like actually weep laughing. Same with The Trial. I've rewatched The Trial like a disgusting number of times.
Yeah, I mean, The Trial is really, really a special piece of art, and kudos to those guys. I mean, Tim and Greg and Eric Natarnicola, the director, who, I mean, he just directed the second season of The Rehearsal with Nathan For
Oh,
wow.
or Nathan Fielder.
Yeah.
And
His last name, For You.
yeah. How he's able to find time to do any of this is incredible. He's like so integral to this whole thing. And
well, those are two huge. I mean, I've only watched the first episode of the latest season of The Rehearsal.
crazy.
The planning,
So
the
ambitious.
sets. I fundamentally don't understand how they do it.
So ambitious.
Yeah, it's truly nuts. And I know, I mean, I'm assuming if it's anything like the first season, it's just going to go to a place where you're like, whoa, where you just can't even believe what's happening. Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant, and I give them all the accolades that they deserve. I mean,
yeah,
it's great. It's great artistry.
And so what is your specific role as head of the High Network?
I mean, they never had anybody at the helm. It was really just kind of bootstrapped by the small nuclear team that was involved. I mean, we're talking like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
And, of course, there's production crews and all that kind of thing that get expanded when you shoot something. But, yeah, Tim and Greg brought me in as someone who's, produced their tours and stuff like that for going on 15 years.
Yeah.
And they understood my zest for wanting to
Power.
get off the road a little bit. Yeah. Not power.
Yeah.
And this seemed like a good marriage to try to forge,
Yeah. Are there other? I don't even know. Are there other shows on the network besides on cinema? Or is the High Network just a name of the online kind of?
It's the online home
thing.
It at some point we'd love for it to expand to other outside entities, but they have under the On Cinema universe umbrella. They have a show called Exposed, which with a
look at her face right now. She's smiling just thinking about it.
I mean, Exposed is so good with Guy LaRue, who's really good. They have Rock House featuring Axiom and Manuel from Dakar. We have the Wendy Kirby Valentine's Day special.
I did watch that one.
Yeah, that's really good.
Is Decker, does it live on the High Network now?
Decker still is an Adult Swim property.
Okay. So
that is, things are fairly well separated in that regard. But there's, they did a feature film called Deck of Cards that was directed by the character Greg Turkington.
Really? I don't even know any of this.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of good stuff.
That's a Decker film called Deck of Cards.
It's a Decker on cinema film called Deck of Cards.
Mm-hmm. It's so accessible.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And what's the name of the mockumentary about Tim's political
Mr.
career?
America.
Mr. America, indeed.
Yeah, that was an actual feature that was, theatrically shown. It was made by Magnolia, and that was post-trial after Tim went on trial.
And that's in universe, in the On Cinema universe.
In universe, Tim went on trial for murdering 19 people at a music festival with his poisonous vape juice. And he represented himself in the trial, and he then wound up running for district attorney against
Rossetti
the prosecutor, Rossetti the Rat, against the prosecutor, the prosecuting attorney. So it's that story. And that's
course.
another beautiful piece of cinema.
Yeah.
You know?
It really is.
Yeah.
5 bags of popcorn.
It's very depressing.
As many sodas as you want. Truly, the end of the trial is such a crushing blow. And then, forgive me that I don't know which special it is, but when Greg is driving away in the car, it's like one of my favorite pieces of acting in the past years. It's so fucking good.
It's incredible. Yeah.
And so your vector into that was all through Greg primarily, or what?
Well, I mean, I guess the relationships originated with Greg and I. I mean, Neil Hamburger and I started touring together in 1999.
Wow.
So, and have been doing that for 26 years.
And did you guys, was it just like a chance meeting or people, friend of a friend? Like, what was that first thing?
He was living in Australia. He had maybe started to do a few live shows, but I was a fan of his records. And in my classic fashion from yesteryear, I would get a bee in my bonnet and I would immediately reach out to someone that I wanted to collaborate with.
Yes. Now, well, sorry, keep going.
So he was living in Australia. I reached out to someone who knew him, and we finally connected. And he wound up coming to America to do some shows, and our first show was in Bellingham, Washington. So
great. What I was going to say is you have a great story about this from when you were a kid about emailing a band you liked and then going to hang out with them.
That's true. It's happened a few times. I mean, the more not recent. This was like 1997, but Buckethead was one where I was like obsessed with Buckethead, and I found he didn't have a booking agent or anything, and so I found his attorney's phone number. It was a guy named Stan Diamond in Beverly Hills. I know, so good.
That's the perfect name.
And for probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I would call like once a month. I would call Stan Diamond's office. I would leave a message. Hey, I'm so and so. I'm trying to reach Buckethead. I want to do some shows with him. So one morning at like 9 a.m., I get my phone.
And so you're like 20 at this point.
I was 1997. I was 20. Yeah. So one day the phone rings and, hey, is JP there? This is Buckethead. And I thought it was a friend pranking me, you know?
Yeah.
And coincidentally enough, someone had made him a mixtape with one of my songs on it. And he finally put 2 and 2 together. And he was like, "Oh my God, this is the guy that's been calling Stan Diamond."
And this is one of your as Plesiosaur.
It was one of my Plesiosaur songs, yeah. And so then we had a great chat and became pals and started. We did a tour like later that year, and toured several times throughout the years. I haven't seen him in ages, but yeah, the original one was I was obsessed with a band called the Dead Milkmen, who were from Philadelphia, and I was about maybe 15. Yeah, 15. Went to see them with friends in Seattle, and they had announced earlier, we had tickets to their show, and then they had announced they were playing on the air at this radio station that my friends and I used to call into all the time. And so we hightailed it across the ferry boat and got into the city, went to the radio station, kept buzzing the buzzer until they buzzed us in.
Mm-hmm.
And they let us be the on-air audience.
Just the two of you?
Me and like 3 friends.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to meet the band.
You're like 16 or something.
15, maybe 16.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so then we go to the show that night. Afterward, I was talking to Joe Jack Talcum, the guitar player, and I was like, "Hey, I wrote your fan club and I never got anything. And he was like, "Oh, give me your address. I'll send you something." And I didn't think he would ever, make
Sure,
good on
of course.
it. And a few days later, I get a postcard. And then we became pen pals, and which he was doing with a lot of people around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I started sending them tapes. And so then the summer between, he and I became good friends. The summer between my junior and senior year of high school, I was 17. My parents let me go to Philadelphia to do a record with Joe.
So wild.
I know, like, why would they do that? Why would they let me do
indeed.
that? And so he and I did a duo album called We're Not From Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing. I came back at the end of the summer, finished high school. 2 weeks later, moved to Philadelphia to be the full-time bass player of another band with him called Touch Me Zoo, and did that for almost a couple years before I moved back to Seattle and
And
started on my path.
Can people hear that stuff still, or is it hard to get?
It was never properly released. It's not on any platform. I know there's stuff out. There's like fan boards and stuff out there with all of it.
That's because Dead Milkmen have like serious fans.
Oh yeah.
I mean, big time.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing fan base. But yeah, we did a bunch of great shows, and we were just starting to we did a few home recorded records. And then we're just going into the studio to do like a proper album. And we were doing shows with like Sparkle Horse and the Rentals and things like that, like very 90s. I mean, this was 1995 or whatever. So
yeah.
And things were like looking up, and then it just, we were all young and stupid and decided to part ways, and there you go.
Did you think at the time you were like, this is it, I got it made, like it's all about to happen?
In one cell of my brain I did, and then the rest of my body was like, well, I'm working 2 jobs and to pay my $250 a month rent or whatever. And I really wanted it. I mean, like, I was sort of dealing with the administration of the group and helping book stuff. And, Joe was very involved as well because he's the one that had any clout.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to utilize, the Dead Milkmen had a very powerful booking agent.
They were on a label, right?
They were on a label. They had, all sorts of resources. And for whatever reason, and now I guess it makes more sense to me than it did at the time, because I was like, why don't we maximize this?
Right.
He didn't want to. He wanted it to kind of stand on its own legs, and it did for a sec, and then like many most things. Bands, they just
goes away.
Yeah, you find a weak point, and it gets exploited and goes away. But it was really fun. It was a really good band. It was really fun.
Go ahead, Leighton, sir.
I was just going to say that I deeply respect and admire the level of initiative that's the through line through all of this. Like, I think for most people, that's not an easy thing to do, to just try to get your foot in the door.
But you're a good example of this too, Leighton, right? I mean, this is pretty much what Dream Daddy was, right? Like, this is you around that age. I mean, we're not too much later, kind of going for it with that.
No, it's true. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I've been coasting the rest of the time. But anyway, this conversation ain't about me.
Hey,
ask the question that you were going to ask.
You showed initiative as a child. And
it goes in waves, though. I think sometimes you feel that invincibility, and what do you have to lose, really? I mean, like people always say, the worst thing they can do is say no, or like, get out of my hair here. And I that was this the glue that held my existence together for many years in my young parts of my career.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of fizzled on it and wasn't proactive at all for years. And I think my life has changed a lot. I became a tour manager and, obviously toured with you for years, Brian, and
Yep.
NSP, and dealing with, grief of the loss of my father and just diving head on into work and not really wanting to put yourself out there. And because it's a vulnerable place to be. And I think it's maybe easier when you're young and dumb and don't know any better. But when you're 45 or whatever, it's hard,
Yeah.
because the rejection carries different weight, I think. It means something different if you get rejected for something.
Well, especially when you've had a success you can point to
Sure.
already at that point in your
Sure.
career. You can say, okay, well, yeah, I did that. There's my credit, or that's the thing I'm known
Sure.
for. And maybe this current thing is failing, but I can always point at that. That's a big difference from being 20 and having
Nothing. Yeah.
Right. Then everything feels like it's the big opportunity. That's a
Sure.
extremely different place.
Yeah. And I think just in the last maybe 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, I found that pulse again. And in making my new album, reaching out to people that I didn't think would respond at all to collaborate on it. And you know what? Everybody I asked said, yes, immediately. How can I help? Where do I send you files?
Right.
That's amazing.
Well, that's what you get by being a good guy people like to work with, right? That comes around in the end when you ask someone, hey, do you want to work together? They'll be like, yeah, let's do it.
I would hope that's part of the reason. But
yeah. I mean, certainly when we're going to talk about this album a lot. I play sax on it.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly when you reached out to me, it was an obvious, I was like, of course. Yeah, anything. Like, you just say the word and I'm there.
Yeah, and that points to, I mean, there is a definite gradient as to the people I wanted to bring in. I didn't think you would say no.
No, of course.
Because you and I are dear friends.
Yes.
But there are people on there who I don't know super well.
Yeah.
And they had no reason to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what do you feel like has been the most positive, emotional, creative change for you as you've transitioned from, you talking about like your younger career and now, everything between then and now?
I think giving myself a break, literally and figuratively, like none of this is life and death. If something is going to take off, it's going to take off. Therefore, don't, in the process of making this latest album, I didn't force anything. I sat down to make what I thought maybe was going to be another comedy record. I didn't know, but once I started making the music and then kind of just letting it flow, I was like, oh, well, this is turning out to be something very, very different. And I'm not going to fight it. I don't have any obligation to any company or any entity to like deliver a certain type of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing, is just giving myself the leeway to have some sort of self-imposed deadlines, have some self-imposed guidelines once I started establishing the track that it was going down,
Yeah.
But giving myself the grace to fuck up. And
I think a lot about, I mean, so you and I are very similar in that the bulk of our music is comedy. I mean, pretty explicitly.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most impressive things to me about your latest album is that it's not comedy. I mean, the song titles are a little arch, but that's as close as you could say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I genuinely don't know if I could do anything outside of comedy. And for me, it's kind of a self-confidence thing. It's like, could I have the guts to like really stand behind a piece of art I made without kind of, winking at the camera, so to speak?
Without having to explain it
Yes.
with your comedy words.
That's right. And and even for me, the Trey Magnifique stuff it's comedic. It is definitely a big comedy element to it. One of the things I love about your album is that it's not funny music. It's great stuff, and it's not meant to be funny. And that is, I think for people outside of this, maybe this is hard to convey. But for me, if I were to, I think about this all the time. It's like, maybe as a challenge, I should try to write something that's not comedy. And it terrifies me. The idea of doing that like actually scares me more than anything else I can think of artistically. So
yeah, because sincerity is harder.
Oh my God.
Because it's vulnerable.
Totally.
So did you find it hard in that sense writing this stuff? And I know you have a song on here that references your dad. Like that seems to me like it maybe was hard to do, but I'm curious.
It was, I mean, in secret, I've been making music like this my whole life, but I never had that confidence to take it seriously or to move to the next phase of actually finish. I had hundreds of pieces of songs that were
really
beautiful little things.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have the guts to flesh them out. And I will say I do think this record is just as weird as anything else I've made.
Oh, sure. It's weird.
It's just not funny.
It's just not funny.
In a
it's just
ha-ha way.
Right.
But I think it's interesting. I think, and especially with the live ensemble, the way that it's taking shape in its infancy here I think it's really interesting to look at.
Yeah.
And I also think if I had come out and said, hey, here's my singer-songwriter album, actually talking lyrically about anything serious, that I can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're going to try it, I recommend doing an instrumental.
Yeah. which is kind of what I did with the Trey thing, although again, it's comedy. But it is weird, and in the best way. I mean, I can't think of another thing out there that's like your album. I mean, it's sort of ambient, but I wouldn't call it really ambient music. The way when I like quote unquote pitch it, when I recommend it to a friend, I'm like, this is like Neo Badalamenti stuff. It has that kind of vibe to it. I think largely the baritone guitar is a big part of that sound, very synthy in places. And
it's synthy, but not like, I don't feel that the synths are dated. It's not dancey or anything like that.
That's right.
It's a good deployment, a very smart and tasteful deployment of synths.
Thank you.
Well, and the live version of this ensemble. So we've done a bunch of shows, and you've done a few shows without me as well. The ensemble, which is a bit variable in a very cool way, it's a little bit modular, right? Just a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's I'd like to say it was by design, but it's mostly out of necessity because all of the individual players are busy with other things that pay more money. But
the core is real, has been you and Nick.
The core has been me, Nick Reinhardt, who's this virtuoso psychopath.
Insane. Yeah.
And such an interesting, sweet guy.
And has so he plays synth guitar,
In
basically.
Hasco Enjoyments, he plays
Yeah.
synth guitar
Yeah.
and, regular guitar, but
Yeah.
he's synthesizing his guitar signal.
That means for those of you who don't know, I mean, he's running it through a thing that's modulating the signal in a cool way. So he's playing notes.
He's playing a guitar. It could sound like a tubular bell or a string section, or
got a whole rig that he does stuff with. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always very exciting to hear that because, I'm not a very good bassist, but I did get really into pedals for a while, and the synth ones appeal greatly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some people, I think for years, they were kind of shunned and looked down upon because they're super dorky, but he's a true maestro in.
Yeah. He's amazing.
He can really harness its power.
Yeah.
And he's super busy he plays in Pinback, he plays in Portugal the Man, his own amazing project called Disheveled Cuss. He was in a band called Terra Milos for years. And
he was just part of that Coachella song with Paul Williams and Weird Al. And
Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yo Gabba Gabba, yeah.
Yeah. So he's very decorated, and he's in Death Grips. Like he's wide ranging skills here.
Yeah.
And then he humors me by coming along for these shows that are slowly getting us to a good spot.
We've done, they've been so fun, and it's just it's unlike any other type of music I've certainly ever played on stage, where it really, I mean, the songs are composed. There's a little bit of freedom in them, especially I'm playing sax in these. For me, there's a little bit of freedom, but there are parts that you wrote and that I'm playing. But it's the kind of thing where when it really hits, you're in the middle of kind of a sound bath, and that is not like stuff I'm used to playing on stage. And it is such a great feeling when you get in the center of it and suddenly it's firing on all cylinders. It just feels like this room is enveloped in the song.
And I think being able to witness it from the top down at the Built to Spill show, like the vibe in the audience was a really beautiful thing for y'all's set. And I'm not even sure how to describe it other than very similar to what Brian is saying, but just watching the crowd of people being with it in that with you.
That's been the most interesting thing about doing this live is, myself, Nick, I think Brian to a certain extent, like we're used to having to really work to get the reaction that you want from an audience, especially Nick and I. Like our previous material it's not antagonistic, but it makes people, there's a lot to process, whether for me it's like wordplay, comedy stuff, and Nick, it's just like noise, psychotic behavior.
For me, that's true with Trey, but not really NSP.
Yeah, NSP,
Starbucks stuff. That's its own thing.
And so, like at that Built to Spill show, that was our second show.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to be asked by Built to Spill to open. And, here we come out in these shiny shirts. And
JP bought us all these Dubangu brand shirts.
Yeah, they're these gross Chinese, like, satin shirts.
Like really low quality.
Yeah, but beautiful.
But great.
And
and under the lighting too, it was such a perfect wardrobe choice.
Yeah, and I think that's become kind of the go-to look for this group. And walking out, and I think people's reactions were, well, who are these jokers? And then realizing
correct reaction. Yeah.
People went along with it, and people
immediately,
just like on cinema people, just like anything, even NSP, people play along, and when people give you that runway to let you take them on whatever journey it is, it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
And you get so much more out of it as the performer.
I think with NSP's fan base, Built to Spill's fan base, I know a lot less well. It's, you have to work to lose them.
Sure.
You know, they're going to show up and they're going to be there for it.
Yep.
And it's harder to, you know, if you're going to make them mad or bored or whatever, that's totally on you, because they showed up to be into it. I hadn't realized with Built to Spill, that's a band that means essentially nothing to me. I don't know their work very well. I know they're a well-loved band. I did not realize, when I told Leighton we were doing this show and other friends, people were like, what? You know, lost their fucking minds. And I was like, oh, okay. Actually, I guess people
very beloved
love this band.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're depressed and you like 90s music, it's kind of like the no-brainer. But no, that was a very, very special night. And I think the crowd during the Built to Spill set, I mean, it was a very moving experience until an extremely drunk girl next to me towards the end was like trying to chat me up in the middle of the song. And it's like, it's Built to Spill.
Yeah.
What? This is not the vibe. Why are you wooing?
I saw people sobbing listening to that band. Like, just
I was
losing
sobbing.
their minds. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was interesting for me because having no attachment, I'm just listening to the songs and watching the performance and thinking, wow, this is really good shit. Like, and same thing for the other band, Quasi, that was on the bill that night. Like, I know nothing about them. They've been together forever. I was just like, wow, this is like really cool, interesting stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Built to Spill especially, like they've put out so many great records, and it's, I think, myself included, there are moments in your life where you're listening to certain things because it makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Or you're feeling a certain way, therefore you gravitate toward that music. And, you know, so yeah, the nostalgia runs very deep in their catalog.
And it's so plaintive and sincere, and I think the lyricism can be so simple and so direct. Like,
oh, he's a great lyricist. He's an amazing guitar player and songwriter.
Yeah, and Twin Falls
he's like a bald, bearded dork who likes basketball and is from Boise, Idaho. You know,
and he stands perfectly still, other than bobbling his head a little bit.
Oh, really?
Which
Yeah.
I
didn't even notice that.
Yeah, Twin Falls, one of my most cried to songs of all time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. I think so, I mean, in that context, playing something very new by unknown people to a group of, 1,800 fans of some legacy act, like, it's not an easy row to hoe. And
no,
when we finished, like, Nick and I were chatting on the side of the stage, and we looked at each other and we were like, that was actually pretty good. Like, we just did it. We did our thing, and people went along.
Yep.
And we both kind of said at the same time, like, well, shit, if I knew it was this easy, like, I would have been making this kind of crap forever. But
it really does. And you and I have talked about this. It feels like the very beginning of a very cool thing, right? Like, I can feel the momentum. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely building, and we've got 10 shows under our belt or whatever, and people seem to like it.
Yeah.
So it's the most rewarding, it's the most proud of something I've ever been. Perfect thing for me at the perfect time in my life.
We had a fun show. The album release party was really great. So that was with Rob from Pinback as well. And that was, so we did this show at the Healing Force of the Universe, Healing Force of the Universe in Pasadena, and played the whole album, right? Plus another jammy type thing. And that was a really special night. Just because I thought that was like the perfect environment for that performance to happen. It's a record store with a little performance area kind of next to it, and it just felt like, and there were a nice number of people there. It was a really good vibe.
Yeah, and that's the trick is, I think we're also used to the mechanism of, all right, we're the band, we're on stage, the audience is there, it's a social thing, everybody's drinking and blah, blah, blah. And to me, that transaction I'm a little over it. I'd much rather be in some sort of alternative, unconventional setting,
Yeah.
And it's just way more fun.
Way more fun.
So, and the era of a young act being able to, you play and then afterward you get to talk to people. And that's what I realized that I missed the most about like the early days of touring. And as you're starting to like, people are starting to come see you in whatever town or whatever. And then you keep going back and you recognize the people who are coming to see you. And I mean, I made dozens of friends over the years who were just into whatever it was. And you wind up shooting the breeze after. And now we're friends on Facebook, you know? And
it's nice when you make something that is specific and real to you and it's able to find the exact weirdos that you were hoping would pick up on the radio signal you're putting out.
And I think regardless of how successful anything is, obviously this isn't even scratched the surface, but I find it so cool when, I get orders for the LP every day. And I would say 90% are from people I have no idea who they are. I have no idea how they found it.
It's fantastic.
That is so flippin' cool to me. And it's like, oh, I'm mailing one to Cincinnati. I don't know anybody in Cincinnati. Yeah. Like, that's so cool. So anyway,
that's amazing. It means people are finding it. It's
people
incredible.
Are finding it and like, oh, cool. You just pissed away $25 on this. Like, fantastic. So, it just tickles me anytime anybody shows any interest in something that I'm, jazzed on.
So with writing it, how many songs did you get down before you're like, okay, this is kind of, the album is a coherent thing.
Yeah.
And all the songs are sort of similar vibe wise, more or less. You wrote a couple songs, you're like, oh, this is the direction I'm going, or this is just kind of what?
I think I had, 3 or 4 songs, and then that I knew I liked. And then kind of in my traditional fashion, I was like, all right, I'm going to do everything myself. And then I was talking with Greg Turkington, and he's like, why are you doing this to yourself again? He's like, you've been going down that road your whole career. Why don't you call some people that you like and have them collaborate on this thing?
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't mean you're obligated to use any of it.
Nope. Which everybody would understand.
And he's like, I think he wasn't trying to tell me what to do, but he could see that that's what not only this project needed, but that's what I needed in my personal life as well. So yeah, I would have something, whether it was fully arranged or not, and then I would send it off. And like, for example, I would send you stuff. You would just send me back these kind of, not ramblings, but like little chunks of riffs throughout the song.
Yeah, I'd go through it 3 or 4 times and just say, here's what I came up with.
Yep. And then I would take it, chop it all up, and rearrange it. I mean, even note by note sometimes to
Yeah.
come up with something that you never would have thought of.
Nope. Yeah.
And then to me, that's what propels the song. That's like the narrative, almost vocal, lyrical line to it. Is a lot of it's the sax, a lot of it's guitar. That is just that little voice that kind of keeps the story going.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting process, you know?
Yeah.
Super fun.
I think at some point you were like, well, it's not what you played. And I was like, well, I don't know what I played. So
Sure.
like I couldn't tell you a single thing. If I listened to it, I'd be like, yeah, I played it, but I had no
Totally.
memory of the specific riffs or melodies or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and so when you sent it back, it was just like, okay, cool. I'm glad, I was just thrilled you found anything from that was useful for what
And
you
that
wanted
was
to
that was
make.
the process for everyone that collaborated on it. I have, Bear McKinnon from Mr. Bungle. He would send these like flute and clarinet parts, and I chopped all that shit up. And I remember sending it to him. He's like, I don't know what, like, this is so different. He's like, I never thought of to do it that way.
Yeah.
And
I mean, isn't that the best part of collaboration, that
so
other
they're
people
giving me
don't?
something that I wouldn't have been able to think of.
Yeah, and like your inner critic kind of shuts up because you can't like if it's just you doing something, you can mentally shit all over it. But then once other people are involved who you respect and who are talented, it's like, well,
Totally.
okay, they've elevated this. I can't be like, this is total shit in my anxiety brain. Like I trust and respect my collaborators, and they're good at what they do, and we're all elevating each other's stuff.
Yeah, but allowing, like, my friend of mine, Paul, in Washington State, he sent me some guitar parts for the Seattle Mariners Are My Favorite Baseball Team song. And
It's a good one.
I remember putting it in there, listening to his stems as he recorded it. And then I like nudged the file like on accident, and it put it like a half a beat out of time. And that's what wound up being on the record, because it was just this interesting syncopated way of playing the guitar line that made it so cool.
Yeah.
So he's like,
I love
oh
that.
God, I never would have thought of doing that. And I was like, well, I wouldn't either. I just bumped my mouse.
Yeah.
So,
I
also
love a happy accident.
oh my God, they're the
It's
best.
very
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
I love the other thing about collaboration with it. I mean, at least for me, I find it very challenging to do anything that's purely me. In fact, I don't think I have one thing I can think of that I put out that's just a thing I did, which actually isn't even quite that, and that's the Pissnog the
Audrey.
Christmas Goblin song. That yes, Audrey. Audrey I made by myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
famously.
Came fully formed from your forehead.
Although I think you wrote a couple lyrics for that or something, didn't you? I think I maybe
Yeah,
sent it to
yeah,
you
I
and
did.
you wrote a verse or something like that.
But you really ran with it. I think
pretty
I
much
gave you
just
some
did it.
notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even
And
that
now
was a stupid
now it exists.
2-minute song that we dumped out on the internet around Christmas. But I mean, doing anything of like any scope purely by yourself is I've never done that. It's so hard.
Well, it makes me think retroactively, like, well, shit, I never should have done so much by myself in the past.
Right.
You know,
Right. I mean, that was something
total missed opportunities.
with the Trey Magnifique stuff. I was like, I literally can't do this by myself. I have to bring in other people. That's why Meowch produced it, because I was
Yeah.
like, look, if I make this by myself, it's going to be worse than if I bring in a collaborator I trust and
Sure.
who knows what they're doing.
Sure.
Yeah, I often want, is similar to writing, non-funny music. I often think, should I, as a challenge to myself, do something that's just me? This was true, but when I was a scientist too. I have one paper I wrote just by myself, but even that was a review paper, like of some previous work. I never did anything, man. It was always in collaborations. Really fucking hard to do stuff by yourself.
As someone who's been in therapy for a very, very long time for my brain not working correctly, I've had to really drill down on the things that I need to have in my life to function properly. And the two biggest ones are creativity. I must always be doing a creative thing. That's my joie de vivre. I need it. And also connection with other human beings who I care about and love. And when you're able to bring those two things together, that's the best part of life.
Yeah.
It elevates your existence, I think.
Yep.
I mean, human contact in general.
And as you get older, I mean, JP and I are significantly older than you, Layden. The
Elderly, as we established
Yes,
at the top
indeed.
of the episode.
In our dotage, the one of the joys of being the age we are is we have this long history of people we love to work with that we can reach out to from time to time and say, hey, I'm doing a thing. You want to be a part of it? And
Yep.
sometimes people say yes and sometimes people say no. But, that's a lot harder when you're young. You just don't know as many people. And
Yep.
now, I could think of tons of people I would just love to do a thing with again if it was the right opportunity.
Well, I feel like that's a nice note to end on before we go into segments, if we want to keep this relatively short.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that's great. Is there anything you'd like to, JP, talk about the album or anything before we move on to another thing?
Well, since I don't think we ever really established what it is, it's called Hasco Enjoyments.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Yes, we should have said that. Yeah.
That's the name of the entity, and the album is called Wow, and it's available on my website and Bandcamp and Spotify and all that stuff.
It's a beautiful vinyl. Very
Yes.
exciting vinyl.
Thank you.
If you had to recommend one song to ease people in, if they had to pick one, which one would you recommend?
Well, I will say this in honor of my beloved Seattle Mariners, who are playing on the south side of Chicago the next 3 games against the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know how Chicagoans feel about their hot dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the song title I would recommend is It's Okay to Put Ketchup on a Hot Dog if that's what you like to eat.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
I'm not necessarily
my favorite title.
disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with how Chicagoans eat their hot dogs, but I'm just letting them know that it's okay if someone does something a little different.
That's a beautiful message of tolerance and peace.
Thank you.
Yes.
Go
And
Mariners.
that one is also a mainstay of our live shows. We've done that
We've done that in every show.
every show.
Yeah.
It's a good
Amazing.
one. And
Well-
one of the many things I love about that song is it's pretty much keyless. It lives in this weird harmonic sort of other world, which I say as a compliment. I think it's very interesting harmonically. It's pretty slippery, which makes it especially fun to listen to.
It's
I like that
it's
one
a
a
weird one. It's weird to play live. I think once you unlock it on how it's structured, then it makes a little
Yes.
bit more sense. But having to relearn all these songs to play them live has been a real fun challenge.
That's the hardest one by.
That's the hardest one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
When before we move on, I just want to ask, and I think I know the answer to this, but when you're writing these, are you thinking in terms of music theory, or you're just grabbing chords and notes that sound good?
I don't even know what music theory means.
Yeah, that's what we've had this conversation before, but just for the purposes
I have
of the
no idea
listener.
what I'm doing. I just know if something makes me feel a certain way or it sounds interesting, then
Yep.
I guess I'll go down that road for a second.
Like some of the greatest musicians in history, it's just what feels right at the time. Theory be damned.
Yeah, I mean, I there are times when I wish I had that in my back pocket, but I sure don't.
I think it changed. I've talked about this endlessly on the show, but I'm very, like dogs are food motivated. I'm very theory motivated. And when I write, I think very theory oriented. But for example, Mr. Dan Avidan doesn't know anything, can't read music, doesn't know what notes are, just sings what's in his soul. And that is great. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just what it is. And I think
the
especially
two of
when
you
have,
being together, that's
Yes.
where the magic happens. Yeah.
and then Jim Roach is right in the middle where Jim
To translate.
pretty much. And Jim can't read music, but he knows music theory. He's a guitarist. He knows chords and stuff. So he can say, hey, I think we should do this chord here. But it's a nice collaboration because you have Dan and I kind of opposite sides of that divide, and then Jim right in the middle.
I love it.
But actually, when I was recording my parts for your songs, I was not thinking in terms of theory at all. I maybe would like pluck a few chords out and try to figure them out, but I just played through it a bunch and figured I'm just going to do what feels right here rather than try to map out the harmonic structure of the
and I'm glad
song.
you did.
Me too.
You're feeling your feelings for the first time ever, Brian.
Yeah, it's a note Rachel's given me in the past.
She's given him to me too in regards to you. You should
JP,
see our text thread.
Can you please have Brian on this album? He needs to open up.
Yeah.
All right, segments.
Sure. Okay. Well, our first segment on the show is our pop culture recommendation segment. This is a segment where you get to talk about anything you've been enjoying recently, a book, a movie, a video game, a pamphlet, perhaps, whatever thing you've been experiencing that you'd like to recommend to someone else. The name of this segment is What's Poppin', and the theme song, which we insert during our extensive post-production process, goes here.
What's poppin'?
What's poppin'? Layton, what's poppin'?
What's poppin' for me is that I've been doing my annual Stephen King reread spree.
Oh,
but
yes, I saw you posting about this.
I decided to throw a new one in there that I hadn't read before. And I don't think I've read a fresh King since Revival, which was just okay. But I read Under the Dome, which fucks. It's so good.
Oh, really? It's
and
good?
You'd think it wouldn't be good based on that premise is kind of fucking dumb.
What if people were under a dome?
Yeah, what if there was suddenly a dome?
What if dome?
But it's like the most stressful book that I've read in a long time. Like, it's genuinely claustrophobic, and I love an ensemble cast, like Town Goes to Hell book from Stephen King, like Needful
He has a
Things
bunch of
is
those,
very
right?
similar.
Yeah.
He does. He loves it. And he's so good at like differentiating character voices in a way that I think so many writers have such a difficult time with.
Yeah. The Mist is kind of like this, right?
Yeah. It has two of the most hateable Stephen King villains, which is saying a lot. But Dean Norris's character in the miniseries, Big
Great.
Jim. And this isn't much
According
of a spoiler.
to Jim.
This isn't much of a spoiler, but as always, I love as you're getting through one of the King books and there's a real nasty motherfucker, you're like, all right, how's King gonna kill him? How satisfying is this gonna be? And I gotta say, it's pretty fucking
good.
satisfying.
Great.
Yeah. So I'd highly recommend Under the Dome. It's very long, very stressful, and just a great read. I
What
love
does
me some
long
Stephen
mean
King.
for Stephen King? It's over 1,000 pages.
I don't know because I read it on Kindle, but as a point of reference, I was reading it all weekend and basically doing nothing else. So for me and
you're
my
a
reading
fast reader
speed,
too. Yeah.
yeah. This was after I had reread Carrie in like one sitting. So
Yeah.
if that's the speed.
Wow.
Anyway, JP, what's popping for you?
Can I have two things?
Yes, of course.
No.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I've been outvoted.
Shit.
No, go ahead.
So this is probably low-hanging fruit for your audience, but my fiance and I had been watching Andor,
Oh, is it as good as everybody says?
It is really, really good.
Uh-huh.
I recommend it. The second part of this Andor Prism is to eat it, to watch it while eating Kettle brand dill pickle chips.
Those are very good.
They're delicious, yes.
That's my recommendation.
I had actually a friend over the weekend. I was at an event, which I'll talk about in a bit. But a friend who is a very Star Wars type of guy, and he said Andor is his single favorite Star Wars thing ever, out of all, including original trilogy.
Wow.
Yep, he thinks it's the best Star Wars thing that's ever been done.
I would say it's my second favorite. Like, it's the original trilogy and then Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. We should force more guests to do a snack and drink pairing for Poppins.
Yes.
Mine is I'll talk about the snack that I ate while reading Under the Dome a little later.
Okay, great.
Brian, what's poppin'?
I traveled back and forth to the East Coast over the last few days and had some time on a plane to watch a thing. And the thing, what's popping for me, is The Studio, the new Apple TV show with Seth Rogen. It's
supposed to be really great.
It's really fun. It's Seth Rogen becomes the head of a Hollywood studio and hijinks ensue. And it's got a bunch of fun, like Hollywood cameos and people playing themselves and stuff like that. But it's well acted. It's well shot. It's definitely a comedy. If, living in LA, they're driving around LA and you see LA stuff, which is always fun.
Wow. There's
a scene at Musso and Frank's, which I was like, okay, great. There's Musso and Frank's. They go to the smokehouse like every other episode. And, it's just, I'm having a great time watching it. And I got it. Rachel and I were talking last night. I love what Seth Rogen has done with his career. It seems like he takes a lot of chances and he's acting in this thing. And I think co-created it.
I just love his pottery.
Does he do pottery too?
Yeah, and it's fucking dope.
That's awesome. I know it seems like he, supports good causes and stuff like that. I think he's in a fun phase of his career now that he's in, squarely in middle age and doing all sorts of weird stuff. He's
being selective and doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he doesn't seem super precious about it. Like he's willing to take chances and be kind of the big dork that he is. I think it's great. So I've been enjoying that. The Studio.
Cool.
Yep.
What's your snack pairing?
Well, it's about a movie theater, so you gotta go Goobers.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like the 3 ultimate movie theater candies, and I think you could. This could be like a Big 5 personality test thing. Goobers, Raisinets, Snow Caps.
Snow Caps. Wow.
Yeah.
No.
Did you? Are you?
No.
You got shot down.
What is it?
For movie candy?
I thought you were about to say vermouth.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Straight vermouth, white vermouth, red vermouth, and then pink vermouth.
They have it,
which is a shandy with the two of them together.
No, they have it in the butter dispensers. It's just vermouth to put
for me.
On
there's only I don't really eat I don't eat chocolate. I know that's psychotic for people, and I don't really eat candy either. But red vines at the theater. If you're gonna have any chocolate, it's gonna be either Junior Mints or Raisinets.
You're insane.
No duds. You got no duds for you guys, huh?
I can't do. I used to like duds, but give me popcorn and Coke Icy.
You know what's the best? Coke Icy with a little bit of cherry icy in it.
Oh yeah,
they let you do it.
Yeah.
So you guys have never done, and I've never done this, but I've seen people do it. Dump the duds into the popcorn. Right. That always
that's like putting the ketchup on the plate of fries.
Yeah.
Which is
yes.
That's something Leighton does probably. Childish.
I was expecting more strays this episode, honestly. So if that's the one I get, I'll take it.
Do you do that?
What?
Dump put ketchup on the fries instead of dipping the fries? And
No, because I don't. There's only one condiment for fries,
what?
and it goes on
Mayo.
the side, and it's mayo.
Oh wow.
Agree to
I
disagree.
think of what I would slightly disagree with that. I think of fries as an accompaniment to mayo, not the other way around. Like the primary thing you're ordering should be mayo with fries.
Fries on the side.
Yeah, and that's the way you always think about it. I'd like a mayo. A mayo with some hamburger, please. Right. That's the right way to order. Waitstaff appreciates that because that way they can tell what your priorities
That's fair.
are. And that's important to convey.
Well, people in the comments sound off below. What is the true movie theater candy if you're getting popcorn and a drink? And do you dump it on top like a freak?
No. Like
No one in
Leighton.
their right mind does that, right?
You do it. You do it a couple of times enough to be like, this is not a sustainable situation. Also, they're heavy. The candy you're putting in is heavier,
That's
and
exactly
so it
right.
all
just
ends up
falls
on
to
the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think if it's chocolate-based product, people are hoping that it's going to kind of melt and then congeal mid-tub.
It
I
just
actually
doesn't work like that.
I hate movie theater popcorn. It's too salty.
Oh, I love it.
What's wrong with you?
More
It's
salt,
too much for me.
please.
No, it's I don't
It's
like
even
it.
better when you take you have like half your bag left and you take it home and you let it get like a few hours stale or overnight stale. Oh, it's so good.
No, thank you. No, I just have a lukewarm glass
You've redeemed yourself, Leighton.
of water at the movies.
try.
That's my favorite movie theater snack.
I'd like a tall glass of milk all the way to the top.
Nice hot glass of milk. Yeah.
God.
All right, Leighton,
With the
introduce the
skin
next
on top.
segment. Yeah.
All right, now it's time for a final segment, which is 3 parts gratitude exercise, 1 part petty grousing. The name of the segment is Peaches and Lemons, and the theme song goes right here.
Peaches and lemons. Peaches and lemons.
That was the beautiful, wonderful, amazing theme song for Peaches and Lemons. Now we will each start with a lemon, which is a thing that is a minor bummer or annoyance. Mine's semi-major today, and Brian, I'm curious if we share the same lemon. My lemon is...
We definitely don't.
Okay. My lemon is that we've decided to do another bad book club, as previously mentioned. And when we were talking to Adam Becker the other week, we brought up Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality, which is a Harry Potter fan fiction. And so we decided to read that
By your
for
favorite-
Bad Book Club.
Your favorite author actually wrote it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Jesus Christ. And Brian, I don't know how far we can get into this.
We should not
because-
talk about it much at all.
No. I mean into the fan fiction because it's longer than War and Peace.
It's 600,000 words.
But it's like, how much can I stand? Because I'm further ahead in it than you are already. You're on chapter 2. I'm on chapter 8. I want to strangle this guy.
It is maybe the worst thing I've ever read. So, JP, what this is, I'm assuming, because you're a person of quality, you are not familiar with Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. It is a alternate universe fan fiction written by a guy who considers himself king of the rationalists and basically is essentially designed to teach people the methods of being rational thinkers, but set against a backdrop of what if when Harry goes to Hogwarts, he just like is the most
Does
rational
his
person in the
schoolwork.
world. Yeah, pretty much. I'm 2 chapters in and I hate it more than anything I've ever read. It's so self-satisfied and bad.
Because it's the Harry Potter character who, mind you, is 11, is a self-insert for this guy, Yudkowsky, who's the author. And it's and there's so much heinous, whatever. We'll talk about it on the Bad Book
It's
Club, which
crimes
is
against
easily,
everything.
handily going to be 2 episodes. And I can't wait to tear into it. But
Awful.
good fucking Lord.
Yes.
That's a treat for everybody who likes the Bad Book Clubs. I would say if you want to follow along, you can read it, but don't fucking bother.
Don't do it. You don't want to
That's-
do it.
That's my lemon. The shit sucks. Brian, what's your lemon?
Well, my lemon is, so this is not my lemon. This is a relevant fact. My daughter turns 11 tomorrow. and
A lemon.
is in. She turns a lemon tomorrow. Oh, that's true. Yeah. And that means this is her last year of elementary school. And thus, and this is my lemon, this is my last week probably ever walking my kid to school, because
Wow.
next year she'll be at a different school. I'm about to go on tour a week from today, and this is it for walking my kid to school. And that's she's growing up, things change, but I had a moment this morning walking her to school, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is the last
It's a big
week.
one.
It's a big one.
Damn.
I know. And, we're still doing the things we do on our walk to school. There's a wall that often has some slugs on it that we always stop and we look at the wall and we count the slugs and try to find the biggest one. We make fun of the stupid new construction houses that look awful that are on our way to school. There's a house being built that we marvel at the process, that sort of stuff. So she's still, she's grown up, but she's still a little kid. But next year will be 6th grade. And the school is not within walking distance, so
God help us all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that when before you leave on tour, and you walk her for the final time, probably, do you think what's the percentage that you'll play the song "This Is It" by Kenny Loggins featuring Michael McDonald?
Well, I'll carry my boombox like I usually do. Yeah. But normally I play, of course, 80s rap, Houdini, etc. But I'm going to play Last Dance as I'm walking away from dropping her off at school. But I'll play the Loggins on the way.
Great. And so you play it after you've dropped her off on your walk back. Yeah.
Your lonely walk back.
With my boombox. Yeah.
Okay.
A boombox can change the world, Brian.
Yeah.
You know that.
Well, I knew you were going to say it, too. JP, lemon?
Oh, I don't know. My lemon. When you exit off the freeway, go to my house.
Mm-hmm. I've done.
It's a 2-lane exit. And then if you're in the left exit lane, that means if you're continuing straight, you're going to wind up in the middle lane because there's an expanded,
Yes.
And then all the lanes eventually, as you go up the hill, there's everything merges into that center lane. Mm-hmm. So I stay in the center lane and let everyone else do the merging, right? Mm-hmm. That way it puts the onus on everyone else. My wonderful, amazing, talented, beautiful fiance, when we are in her car and when she is exiting, she immediately exits and then goes all the way left to the lane that eventually has to merge. And it mystifies me. She always gets the job done perfectly fine. It's just, I can't believe that someone who I love so deeply thinks about it in such a different way than I do.
Mm-hmm. Have you discussed this with her?
Oh yeah, we did it yesterday, and she's like, guess what I'm doing? I'm doing it. And so that it makes for a good giggle going up the hill, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's
a good lemon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
it
now
sucks
it's
when the people you love are just objectively wrong. But it does happen. It actually happens a lot
she's
in my house. A lot.
She's probably doing an interview right now where she's saying the same thing about me.
Now it's time for peaches, which are 3 things that are good, cool, happened, or going to happen, whatever the fuck. I'll start as I normally do because I keep mine brief, considering that we have to do this multiple times, particularly multiple times this week.
Yes, we do.
Peach number 1. I love the snack Choco Pie, which is sort of like a moon pie, but I have these black sugar milk tea flavored ones right now. So good. I love the regular kind, but the milk tea, there's a little tea taste in it. Beautiful. My second peach is that last week Jory came over and we played a couple of god-awful video games together as research for our next thing. Being around humans, especially if you're enjoying terrible media together, it's good stuff. Yep. And my final peach is that right now there is a limited time mode in the video game Dead by Daylight where it's instead of the regular 1 killer versus 4 survivors, it is 2 killers, 8 survivors.
Oh shit!
Which is always very chaotic. But it feels good enough in a regular game where you're like really breaking some ankles and the killer can't get you. But when it's 2 killers and neither of them can get you, no greater feeling. And it was they've added some new killers to the mode because they don't have the full roster. But I was just juicing the fuck out of a Wesker and a Ghostface, and it was great. And then I was the only one left, and I beat them to the escape while they both like were simultaneously slashing it where I had been a second earlier. God, incredible! That was last week. I'm riding that high still.
Do you know what Dead by Daylight is, JP?
I do.
Yeah.
Too scary for me.
Yeah.
I get it.
For me, I occasionally watch Layton and her Maniac friends play this, and it's not... I tried to play it once, and it not only is it scary, it's also incredibly difficult to learn.
It's the most beginner unfriendly game I've ever played. So God help all the kids who, and this is perfect, I'm wearing the shirt for it, when they add Five Nights at Freddy's and Springtrap in June... There's going to be a bunch of...
What is Springtrap?
He's a guy in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
But he's going to be the killer with... Yeah, he is. He's Matthew Lillard. They like licensed Matthew Lillard
for the movie.
Kind of a mix of game and movie lore that they're putting in. But when all of the children who love Five Nights at Freddy's, it's going to be a huge influx of new players.
Oh, they're so fucked.
They're fucked. I have almost 1,200 hours in the game. I only feel like now I'm kind of good at it. So good luck, kids. You're fucked. Those are my peaches. Who would like to go next?
JP?
I'm going to take kind of a roundabout way of getting to peaches. Last week, I bought goldfish crackers. Love them very much, right? They taste really good. I felt like crap for several days, breaking out, all sorts, trying to figure out what's going on. Figured it out because they have, even the like original ones, have cheese in them. I can't eat that stuff. So this could have been a lemon, but I'm taking it to being grateful that I figured it out. And
yeah, totally.
Did you not know there was cheese in them?
No, I didn't know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have purchased them.
But they are cheese flavored, right?
They're not the cheese flavor. They're the regular ones.
Aren't the regular ones?
The regular ones are cheese flavor.
No.
They're
not the cheddar ones.
Describe. What are you talking about?
I thought the regular ones were cheddar.
No,
yeah.
The plain.
They're plain? Okay, I didn't know. Are they beige? So the cheddar ones are orange.
Yes.
The plain ones are just beige.
He's right. I can't even argue with him. Yeah, he's right. I was wrong.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Because there's the pretzel kind, but that's not what you're talking about.
That's not what I'm talking about. No.
Blue bag, original.
Blue bag. So that's one.
Okay.
The other is I am definitely a novice video gamer compared to the two of you, but I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I finished it long ago, but being the completionist that I am, I'm just
doing all the achievements,
suffering through all the stupid stuff. And again, that could be a lemon because I'm begrudgingly doing these things because I'm obsessive compulsive. But I'm excited to finish so that I can start a new game. And then the third one is I'm grateful for my family.
Great.
That's a beautiful run of peaches. I love the way that you turned things that could have been lemons into peaches. I think that's a great attitude.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Brian?
Yes, I'll go. Peach number one, I went to a fun conference that I organized this weekend, Nauticon, with the folks from the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe and a few other wonderful people. We were in the abjectly terrible city of White Plains, New York, but we were mostly in a hotel, and we got to hang out for 3 days and reconnect with friends that I don't get to see that often, and it was a lot of fun. I wrote with a collaborator a bunch of puzzles for the event that went over really well. Did some music, did some science, had a great time. So apart from the fact, and I passed through New York, and I had just enough time to run out from Grand Central to grab a slice of pizza and then run back in to get the train. I had like literally the exact amount of time to dash out pizza back.
Beautiful.
So that was great.
Congrats.
Peach number 2 is yesterday. Yes.
Sparrow.
You know it. It's my favorite.
JP was going to say the exact same thing.
The little local joint, right?
Yeah.
On the way back yesterday, I had amazing travel karma. So except for the flight was delayed a little bit, but getting the trains from White Plains to JFK, perfect timing. After JFK, I walk out and the parking shuttle was right in front of me. Just hop on, got home before the sun was even down. It was amazing. Like it's sometimes, you park in the economy lot and it takes a while to get the fucking shuttle and stuff. This was ideal timing. It was amazing. And my final peach is when this comes out on Friday, I will have a new single out for our first single from the Go Banana Go and Flula Borg album, which is coming out maybe a month later. I forget the release date, although we have it somewhere. But I guess we have announced this. This single it's an idea that Rachel and Audrey had and then pitched to me. I ran it up the food chain. We debated the merits and we decided we liked it. It is a Chapel Roan parody of Hot to Go called Hot Cocoa.
Oh boy.
And pretty much every Go Banana Go album has one parody song on it. Actually, the one parody we did of that Havana song by Camila Cabello is our most popular song by a fucking country mile. It is like vastly more popular than anything else we've ever done with that band.
Wow.
So we decided we'll do a fun Chapel Roan parody, and that comes out Friday.
Love
and first new Go Banana Go in a little while. And first new song with Flula in a very long time. So
Congrats.
thanks. And those are my peaches.
Well, JP, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
So
you.
generous with your time.
Thank you, Leighton. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, always great to have you on the show and chat about the stuff.
Yeah, everybody go check out Hasco Enjoyments.
Yes, it is.
Do it.
It is everyone. So we've posted it on the Discord for this podcast. I was telling you, JP, the other day. Everyone I've seen talk about this album loves it. Anyone who hasn't listened to it yet, you are going to love it. It's just fantastic. I cannot recommend it highly enough, and not just because both JP and I are. I mean, JP's album, I was going to say, are on it, but of course it's JP's whole thing. It's just a great album, and I think everybody's going to love it. So please go listen to it.
Please go listen, buy it, come see us live.
Leave a review on Amazon.
Do whatever that's positive. No negativity, though.
No, please.
Otherwise, the comments are closed.
Cool.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Love and respect you both.
All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Leighton Night is produced by Brian Wecht and Leighton Gray. Sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/Leighton Night. Follow us on Twitter at Leighton Night, on Instagram at Leighton_Night, or email us at leightonnight@gmail.com.